presented by Dave Campbell's Texas Football, breaking down the 2022 Texas High School Football Playoff brackets. That's Ishmael Johnson. I'm Greg Tepper. This is 6A Division II. And we were talking before we started recording about how this does feel like there are there's certain regions of this bracket where the Division II bracket is pretty clearly stronger than Division I bracket.
I agree. I definitely think you look at Region 1 in particular, right? As far as top to bottom, right? Division 1 may have the brand names, but some brand names trickled into Division 2 as well, and Region 1 in particular.
Yeah, let's start there. We'll start with Region 1, and specifically what we're talking about here. I think that in this region, there are 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 different teams that you can see come out here, but I think the conversation probably starts with Denton Geyer.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Auto, they got the guy, right? They got Peyton Bowen as well. They're excellent 5-star athlete. They kind of do throw everywhere around the field. You probably would pencil them in there, but second round matchup potentially against Highland Park, right? That's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, seeing Highland Park in 6A is going to be fun to watch. But then you get down to the second half. I mean, first round matchup, McKinney-Coppell is a very fun matchup, man.
It's a great matchup.
You want to hit on that one at all?
It's gonna be a fantastic matchup, and I think that it's really gonna. I think that they're gonna be whoever wins that game will probably be a favorite over whoever comes out of this matchup. So you're talking about a regional semifinal where they're likely to see, I would say, South Lake Carroll, even without Caden Anderson.
Yeah.
But one backup quarterback, who knows? That's the interesting thing about this region. The El Paso teams, I think El Paso East was probably the strongest, especially since San Angelo Central has to go out to El Paso. But a second round matchup with a DFW power like Boswell or Byron Nelson could be dangerous for them. So I think right here, this is kind of the power nexus, especially Geyer and Highland Park. The winner of that is probably going to end up seeing probably a team like South Lake in the second or in the regional final. Let's go to Region 2. Over to Region 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. DeSoto's got to do it, right?
They have to be the happiest team
oh my gosh.
in Texas right now because, of course, every year they draw Duncanville eventually. We see how that goes. There's no Duncanville here, right? They drop down to Division II. I mean, at this point, you're maybe looking at a Harker Heights as like the other second team there. I'm trying to find the third team.
Look, Wiley East is a great story.
Sure.
They also they haven't been to the playoffs in a minute, and so DeSoto certainly has that pedigree edge. I like New Caney a little bit. Tomball was a team that made us all look dumb last year. They do it again.
Yeah, it's at this point on paper, DeSoto should have a very manageable walk to a state semifinal, and if it does not happen this year. When is it going to happen?
I think you're right. I think you're right. The Harker Heights with Rashawn Sanford, probably one of the single individual best playmakers in the entire bracket. If you've never seen him, he is worth the price of admission. Let's go to Region 3. Flip it over to Region 3, and the big dog here is Katy. Katy ends up going to the Division II bracket, which probably makes them the favorite out of Region 3. I think that they're certainly the favorite up here. I like the Shadow Creek team. I think, very quietly undefeated, very quietly going about their business. Their defense has been great, but at some point, it does feel like somebody's going to have to beat the final boss, and I'm just not sure anybody's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, the Houston area kind of overtook them this year, right? We were like, oh, what's going on with Paytail? It's kind of obviously Katy. They're going to do what they do. The injury to Caleb Bailey at North Shore, so it was like Shadow Creek just kind of flew under the storylines a little bit. And yeah, I mean, they're going to get probably Humble Summer Creek in the second round. Probably going to be favored in that one, and then that brings up an interesting matchup. I feel like Katie's going to have the pedigree and the just kind of consistency to kind of just put Shadow Creek in the grinder like they usually do to any team. But that'll be an interesting third round matchup.
Bottom half of this bracket, I think I really like this first round match between Clear Falls and Pearland Dawson. I think that has an opportunity to be one of those showcase by district matchups. I like Hightower coming out of the Fort Bend district. I think that's a team that is playing pretty good ball right now. But in the end, this is the stronger half. This is the dirty side of the region, especially considering you've got the big dog in Katy. Let's go to Region 4, kind of the Austin, San Antonio, Rio Grande Valley, and I'll tell you what, Austin's bringing the heat here. Austin's
really
bringing the heat. And there's a couple of teams out of the San Antonio area you can dream on as well, but Austin for sure. I think you take a look at at Austin, Vandergrift, and Dripping Springs, both of whom I think are going to be very dangerous. Both the top Division II seeds, and they may be on a collision course, but there are some landmines I think for them.
I was about to say you have Austin Novosad at Dripping Springs, probably one of the best players. He's going to probably get one of the other best players in the first round, Quentin Joyner at Manor. That's going to be a great matchup right there.
Superstar matchup.
Exactly, and so but. I mean, the winner of this, right now you probably pencil in Dripping Springs. Man, I don't see them having issue getting to a regional final. They came out of Lake Travis Westlake District and, of course, put up a decent fight against Westlake, pretty, as good as anybody's going to put up all season. And, yeah, I agree. I think Vandergrift, I would probably put Vandergrift, pencil them as my favorite to come out the region right now, but only a hair. I know Dripping Springs beat them in the regular season, but that was early in the year. I think Vandergrift is a team that, under Drew Sanders, is somebody that gets better late. And especially, I don't know, I just like Vandergrift potentially coming out of that region.
The story of the San Antonio teams here, specifically rather, Commerce, Judson, and Brandeis, is I think their ceilings are high.
Sure.
But they just have not consistently played to their ceiling. If they do that, they can beat anybody in this bracket, but they have to do that consistently. If you want to dream on a Rio Grande Valley team, I think Harlingen probably has the best path to a regional semifinal where they might see a team like Dripping Springs or Manor potentially. But I think overall, I think you're right. You may be looking at a rematch between Dripping Springs and Vandergrift there in the state's regional final. So it takes to the big bracket where, again, kind of to reiterate, you're talking about, I think, especially a lot of intrigue here in Region 1. A heavy favorite that also does not have the best history of playing to their paper in the playoffs.
I mean, I was about to say, we thought Rockwall Heath last year would be somebody come out, and of course you mentioned what Tomball did to them. So it could be something similar this year.
Absolutely. Region 3, Katy feels like the big dog up here with potentially a Shadow Creek spoiler, and then down here with the Austin area kind of dominating with Vandergrift and Dripping Springs. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this March to AT&T Stadium. We'll have you covered every step of the way at TexasFootball.com.